Hans, let me start with an open question. What's different this time?
Well, A, the EU went first. Sometimes the EU has gone first, but this is really the EU going ahead of the U.S. B, these sanctions prevent oil subsidiaries, most cases subsidiaries, as Adam was saying, from raising funds for longer maturity than 30 days in Europe. And then we'll get the something similar, we believe, from President Barack Obama later today.
Can Russia retaliate?
Yes, and that's what everyone is waiting for here in terms of the economic picture, right? It's clear. I mean, these sanctions from the EU have been talked about now for the better part of 2 weeks. They were finally published in a Brussels register, which makes them official. Question is, does Russia retaliate beyond cars? They're talking used cars and clothing. The big thing I'm looking for, Tom, do they control airspace? Do they say there can be no European or U.S.-originated flights that fly over Russian airspace? That would be a significant escalation from Russia's side.
Hans, you've reported extensively on the personal relationship between Angela Merkel of Germany and, of course, Putin of Russia. She's curiously absent in these most recent talks. What do you make of that?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as say as absent. She was pretty front and center in NATO when this really, at the NATO summit over the weekend and on Monday when this really gelled together. Now, then there was a big dispute on whether or not you'd actually implement them because there's a ceasefire. But as we've seen, the ceasefire isn't exactly durable, and it's not a ceasefire in a literal sense. So you saw over the last couple of days Cameron and Merkel make sure that these sanctions were implemented, published in the official EU speak. And now the question is, do you have an off-ramp from these sanctions? Right. Almost immediately it starts, right? At the end of September, there will be a review.
Hans, very quickly, would we expect to hear from Mr. Putin on this Friday or even into the weekend?
I suspect we'll hear from Putin. He's in the eastern part of his country right now. He's traveling back today. I suspect we'll hear from Putin, if not someone with a great deal of authority from close to Putin.
Hans Nichols from our news bureau in Berlin.